Welcome everyone. Today we are going to graph quadratic equations on the Cartesian plane. The graph is a line that is a curve that it has some characteristics. One, it can open upward or maybe it can open downward. It has one vertex where the line changes the direction. It has intersects in the x-axis and it has an intercept in the y-axis. But let's do some exercises to identify the points and how to trace the line on the Cartesian plane. The first example to represent on the Cartesian plane is y equal x to the second power minus 4. First, we need to identify the y-intercept. So when we are going to find the y-intercept, the value of x is equal to 0. If we replace the value of x in the equation, you have x equal 0 to the second power minus 4. So y equal 0 minus 4. So y is equal to negative 4. So the y-intercept in this equation is 0, negative 4. The second step is to identify the x-intercepts. So when we are going to find the x-intercepts, the value of y is 0. So if we replace y by 0, we have 0 equal x to the second power minus 4. To solve this equation, we identify that this binomial is a square binomial. So we can find the factorization like x plus 2 times x minus 2. Now we need to equal each factor to 0 and solve each linear equation. So x equal negative 2 and x equal 2. So the intercepts in this situation is negative 2, 0 and 2, 0. The next step is to identify the vertex of the parabola. So to identify the vertex, we need to find the middle point between the two x-intercepts. So we add negative 2 plus 2 divided by 2. This is 0 over 2, that is 0. This is the coordinate for the x. To find the coordinate of y, we are going to substitute the value of x in the equation. Y equal x to the second power minus 4. So y equal 0 to the second power minus 4. Y equal 0 minus 4. Y is equal negative 4. So the vertex in this equation is x 0 and y negative 4. Now we are going to represent the points on the Cartesian plane. First, the y-intercept 0, negative 4. 0, negative 4. The two x-intercepts negative 2, 0 and 2, 0. The vertex in this equation is the same that the x-intercept. So we need to trace the line, join the points. And that is the representation of this equation. Now we have the equation y equal negative x to the second power minus 6 times x plus 7. The first step is to find the y-intercept. We know that to find the y-intercept, the value of x is 0. So we need to substitute the value of x in the equation. Y equal negative 0 to the second power minus 6 times 0 plus 7. The answer is y equals 7. So the y-intercept is 0, 7. To find the x-intercepts, we have to substitute the value of y by 0 and find the x-intercepts. So in this equation is 0 equal negative x to the second power minus 6 times x plus 7. This trinomial is necessary to factor the negative. So the first term will be a positive term. So in this case, negative factor of x to the second power plus 6 times x minus 7. To factor the trinomial, we need to find two numbers whose product is negative 7 and whose sum is 6. In this case is x plus 7 times x minus 1. This symbol, the negative, is like negative 1, and it doesn't have a variable, so we can divide negative 1 in 0. This is 0 equal x plus 7 times x minus 1. Now we need to equal each factor to 0. X plus 7 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0. And solve each linear equation. X equal negative 7, x equal 1. So the x-intercepts is negative 7, 0 and 1, 0. Now, to find the vertex of the parabola, first we need to find the point between the two x-intercepts, the middle point. So we need to add negative 7 plus 1 divided by 2. And the x-intercept is negative 6 over 2, that is negative 3. Now, to find the value of y for the vertex, we need to substitute the value of negative 3 in the equation. Y equal negative 3 to the second power minus 6 times negative 3 plus 7. And solve. Negative 3 to the second power is 9. Negative 6 plus, times negative 3 is positive 18 plus 7. And solve. Negative 9 plus 18 is 9 plus 7 is 16. So the vertex of the parabola is negative 3, 16. To graph or to point the points on the Cartesian plane, I'm going to use the scale of 2 for the y-axis and the scale of 1 in the x-axis. So to represent or to identify 0, 7 in the Cartesian plane, remember that is the scale 2 by 2, so it's in the middle between 6 and 8. And this is the y-intercept. The x-intercept, negative 7, 0, negative 7, 0, and 1, 0. And the vertex is negative 3, 16, negative 3, 16. And now we can join the points to form the parabola. If you see, you can see that the parabola open downward. What happened is because the negative in the equation, if you identify in the first term, the first term is negative. So when the first term is negative, the parabola is open downward. Let's do the last exercise. We have y equal x to the second power plus 6 times x plus 8. The first step is to find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we know that the value of x is 0. If we substitute the value 0 to the second power plus 6 times 0 plus 8 and solve the equation, we know that the value of y is 8. So the y-intercept is 0, 8. Now, to find the x-intercept, we know that the value of y is 0. If we substitute the value of 0 in the equation, we get 0 equal x to the second power plus 6 times x plus 8. Now, we have a trinomial that we can factor. To factor the polynomial, we find two numbers whose product is 8 and whose addition is 6. In this case, is x plus 4 times x plus 2. Now, we have to equal each factor to 0. 0 equal x plus 4 and 0 equal x plus 2. And solve each linear equation. X equal negative 4 and x equal negative 2. Now, we need to find the vertex of the parabola. The first is to find the middle point between the two x-intercepts, negative 4, 0 and negative 2, 0. In this case, negative 4 plus negative 2 over 2, so this point is negative 6 over 2. In this case is negative 3. Now, to find the value of the y in the vertex, we need to substitute the value of negative 3 in the equation. Negative 3 to the second power plus 6 times negative 3 plus 8. And solve. Negative 3 to the second power is 9. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18 plus 8. So y equal 9 minus 18 is negative 9 plus 8 is negative 1. So the vertex is negative 3, negative 1. Now, I'm going to locate the points. The y-intercept 0, 8. The x-intercepts negative 4, 0 and negative 2, 0. And the vertex negative 3, negative 1. And join the points. So this is the representation. Look that the curve, the parabola, is open upward. Why? Because the first term is positive. I hope you learn how to graph quadratic equation in the Cartesian plane. See you in another opportunity.